All right. What's up, Flaco?
What's good with Pastor Rocha? Blessings, man. Blessings, brother.
Yeah, I want to start this off, man. You are the first official interview that I'm doing on our channel.
That's an honor, brother.
Yeah.
That's
So
definitely an honor.
yeah, we believe it or not, man, I started this channel from the first day I started House of Rest Church, and there was no live back then. I just had to I would record it with a camera, DSLR camera, and I'd have to upload it. And internet was so slow 10 years ago, at least mine was, that I would have to leave it uploading all night. But we've had our channel for 10 years. You know, it's been a long time. And I've never done this type of interview like this. So it's going to be interesting.
I'm ready.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to let everybody know who you are.
I'm Flaco from a Convicts Perspective, man. In a brief things in a nutshell, man, I'm a former gang member, was affiliated with North Daniel Street gangs, went to prison, was affiliated with the NR, the NF, was out there really active in the streets. Also at a time where when you was actually out there active in the streets, as you know, we had some similar contacts at that time, man. I went through all the trials and tribulations that we have living this lifestyle. And pretty much in the last 5 years, I've pretty much changed my life and started to go in a whole different direction. I defected from this lifestyle about 14 years ago.
Yeah.
But even in the adverse effects afterwards, I started to still live down a negative lifestyle, man. I mean, I was dealing with a lot of demons, a lot of loneliness, a lot of rock bottoms that had never occurred, even in my full active gang lifestyle, you know. And a lot of that was I didn't have any type of solution in my life. I didn't have I was lacking that spiritual malady. I mean, I had nothing else to give me any type of right direction, and I was living in the lowest level that you can compared to what you used to be involved in. You know, I suffered from addiction out there. I was still out there getting money and living that lifestyle, but I was no longer affiliated with the organization, was no longer a gang member, and I was a loose renegade, and I became a drug addict in between, something that I never thought. I crossed that threshold from, you know, out there active in the mix, being a criminal, being involved in all these illicit activities. And when I'm talking illicit activities, I'm talking like, you know, moving 5 to 10 pounds of meth a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, boatloads of fizz pills, you know what I mean? Kilos of Yale at the time, you know what I mean? Illicit businesses, you know, which I'm not proud of, but some of the things that we were involved in at that time was on a whole higher level. Yeah. And I went from doing that to now still having those business acumen that we have, you know, the street sense, but I was doing it more on a lower level, and I started to suffer from addiction issues, man. And a lot of that was because of the way that maybe I walked away from this lifestyle, man. And
yeah,
just feeling the betrayal, the corruption, and everything that I experienced, man. Because when you go through your whole life only knowing one part of your life, which was to be a homie and being involved in this, and you start to have a word that's looked at as golden and respect and honor, to now people looking at you and despising you because they don't understand what you went through. You know, I started to feed it into a drug addiction.
You know, real quick, remember that scene in American Me when Santana gets out and he's looking at the boots? And remember that guy in the store goes, "Oh, I'll be right with you," and he goes, "Hey, look at me when you talk." Remember that part?
Yeah, I exactly remember that.
Yeah.
That's a real type of statement there, and I can touch on that
statement. Like there's times my wife will see that, you know, is that sometimes because like people that a lot of times, guys, I know a lot of times people go to the military and stuff and they call people non-military people civilians. Those that have been in a lifestyle, am I correct? We call them civilians, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like I say, I'm a civilian now. Have you ever said that statement?
I'm totally a civilian today.
Yeah, right.
I don't title myself as a former gamer, ex-game member, dropout, or whatever you want, labels you want. I'm a civilian, you know what I mean, and trying to make an impact in this world, man. But it's funny you brought that up. I'm gonna touch on that right real quick since you brought that up.
Yeah.
For years, I suffered because I had that same stigma in my head about respect, about how I get treated, and I put that upon people who were regular civilians. I put that upon people who I was in relationships with, how I expect you to act, how you're supposed to treat me, how you're supposed to interact with me. And I suffered a lot of, not, I won't say consequences, right? But I severed a lot of ties, and I had a lot of damage in my relationships because I did have that mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm Flaco, I'm this and that. I mean, you're going to show me respect.
yeah.
And when I lost all that respect that I used to have, it was a hard time to deal with life. You know what I mean? Because it was something that was a part of you for so long that you emulated in your daily functions as a human being. You don't look at yourself as a citizen. You think you're something else.
Yeah. And that's a good point, man, because it's funny. I saw American Me. I had never been locked up before that. And then after watching American Me after that, and actually I just recently watched it because they added it to Netflix. That part, man, that was a huge statement. Hey, look at me when you talk to me, and it's not just that scene. It just shows that statistics have shown that anybody has done 5 years or more, it psychologically affects you, that it makes you different. It doesn't mean that it doesn't make you a monster, but it changes you, and I think that's a true statement,
Yeah.
So I agree everything with what you're saying. Real quick though, man, what's interesting, that I think a lot of people that have been seeing our interaction with yourself, with Rojo, with even Gunner, is I think people would find it interesting, because I'm trying to think, like, you've done a lot of spills, you've done a lot of things, and I want people to hear something different from you. Remember, let's go back to you hitting me up on Facebook. Remember that?
Yes.
What brought that upon? What connected us?
Well, what connected us was I seen the things that you were doing. I mean, I was in the back scenes of everything that was going on with you out there. Like, I was able to reveal to you certain situations that only if I was in the know, I would know.
That's what, that's the only reason I responded.
Like I knew who was getting at you. I knew who was sent to get at you. I knew the reasons why. I knew everything. You know what I mean? I even had your number at one time. There was no reason for me to call you back then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we were in the back scenes, and at that time, the individuals that were sent to get at you had never been to prison.
Yeah.
They were basically under us, and they were basically buffers to shelter us. They were the ones that were going up there to visit those certain guys.
Yeah.
That were involved in your case at that time. And so, when you see someone making a change, you start to sit there and analyze, are they truly, committed to what they're saying and doing? And so I started watching from a distance,
Yeah.
And looking at everything and hearing everything and just seeing what you were about. And I'm like, man, this dude it has the integrity to do what he says he's doing. And you gain some admiration to see that, because that was the mindset. And I think it was during COVID too, as well.
Yeah.
As we'll go into how my testimony, how I found God. You know what I mean? And a lot of the reasons why I started doing Convicts Perspective is when I spiritually healed myself, and that's what I call it. I found a spiritual solution. I'm no longer disturbed spiritually. I found a way to my number one thing is, when I'm of service and helping others, it helps me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we'll go on to how I found the Lord and how I started doing things. But when COVID hit, it became different. I mean, up until COVID, I was going to church every single weekend.
Yeah.
I was attending church. I was going to functions. I had a relationship with a certain pastor. We would fellowship, and I was doing a lot of things. I was my son's school every year. I would be the Santa Claus. You know what I mean? I would go and work at the Salvation Army. Ringing the bell. I would go help out. I would go do H&I commitments, which is AA in recovery, and I'd go into mental hospitals to speak to youth. And then all of a sudden, this COVID stuff happened.
That's a big difference from the life you came out of.
Yeah, and this COVID thing happened, and I had no interactions with no one. And I started to interact with Robert Rios, who we know.
Yeah,
a mutual friend, and he used to do these Facebook miracles. And
yeah, I didn't realize you knew him.
Yeah, well, anytime, what you want to do, like for me, it's good to reach out to people who live that past lifestyle, who made change, because only they really can understand what you've been through.
Exactly.
And so I reached out to him a little bit, and we talked, and he knew who I was. I knew who he was. And he was doing the Facebook miracles on his page.
Yeah.
Him and Daniel Contreras and all that, who's the pastor out there, real nice guy. I've talked to him a few times, and I've actually been able to send people his way for him to help. And that's what it's all about, helping people. And so I started watching during COVID all these prison channels. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And one of them I mentioned in Boxer's book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So someone sent it to me, and so I'm like, started reconnecting out there, and I started seeing all the comments from people who don't know about that lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm real informative because I was there. I was present for a lot of it. And so I started commenting, and I wasn't expecting to go on YouTube or anything. And what ended up happening, someone got at me and they're like, hey, I'm looking for someone from the 70s. You know what I'm saying? You're real informative. I'm seeing you in the comments and you're really realigning people with what the facts are.
Wow.
And so I said, you know what? Robert's a good speaker. He enjoys that.
Yeah.
So Robert Rios was supposed to do that. And he had committed. And I talked to him, I think it was June 13th. And, he was ready to do it the following week. And that's when he went MIA. Rest in peace, Robert. Really good guy. I mean, that message needs to continue. I mean, he'd give his shirt off his back out there in the streets. And he wasn't afraid to show his commitment to Christ, even as an NF dropout, being right there in San Jose. And that takes a lot of heart. You know what I mean?
There's a little fact is when I first got out, I went in 2004, got out 2010, and the first church I was ever invited to preach at was in Gilroy, and Robert Rios showed up, and that's the first time I met him, and he just kind of embraced me, and we became friends after that.
Yeah. So that's how and so me giving you your word, I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. I mean, like you got at me this morning. I said, okay, let's do it. At first I told you no. Give you a hard time. I mean, but I was just playing with you. And so I started to do this stuff, and then I seen how therapeutical it was for me. It was just like me being of service and everything else I was doing. COVID's going on. So I started doing interviews, and I started working with the platform, and then I brought on other people. I'm the one, I brought on Gunner on the show. I brought Rojo on the show. I brought Sundown on the show. I brought all these different individuals, and helped build their platforms by me getting them on a show I started working with. And so I elected to start my own channel. And the whole basis of the channel is to have a positive message and give suggestions for people for change. You know what I'm saying?
I came across your channel because actually Alfonso, who you met, you interviewed him. And Alfonso, the one with the book God's Fingerprint, he sent me a link, and he goes, hey man, this YouTube channel, these guys are mentioning you, and I went to your channel, Convicts Perspective, for those of you that you heard him say in the beginning, and they talk about a lot of this information and stuff, and it was the Q&A where I was brought up. That's why he showed it to me. So it intrigued me, and I started listening to it. And you know what's weird? It's funny that you say that, because you said it was therapeutic. And maybe people that never been locked up won't understand this, but even listening to what you guys are saying, and here's the thing, man, I was never deep into what you guys were into, but I was part of the Operation Black Widow. I was a part of this stuff, and then just doing 6 years, which isn't a whole long time, and I know to some people that have never done time, they're like, what do you mean 6 years ain't long? It's not long, man. Not when you sit next to people that are doing life, or people that got 20, 30 years, it's really not long. But nevertheless, man, where it is therapeutic somehow, some way. I can't figure it out why, because even my wife says, why do you listen to these guys so much? And I said, I don't know. Because especially your guys, there's no cuss words or nothing. It's not like you guys are not talking very derogatory or nothing. And it was just something therapeutic about, like, I don't know. And maybe you can, I don't know if you've analyzed it. I don't know why it is, but it just is. So I agree with you.
I think because for me personally, man, like, I suffered from addiction issues as far as when I walked away and stuff and everything that happened, man. I had my own inner demons I had to deal with. And so, like I said, when I started to be of service and helping others, I started seeing the impact I had on different lives, because I get messages from people, as many trolls as we get with the haters and all this, you're spreading poison. I'll clap back at them. Like, what poison am I spreading?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to tell you to go out there and have a family. I'm trying to sit there and tell you to take care of your kids. I'm telling you to get a job. I'm trying to tell you, instill positive morals. I'm just giving you suggestions. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to tell you to go out there and run around the street selling dope. I'm not trying to tell you to go out there with guns and trying to kill your own race out there. I'm not promoting any of those stuff. And we're not even trying to promote unity. We're not even trying to promote unity amongst gangs like North Day Sud. We're not active in that. We're trying to change people and give them that incentive to where there's a whole different way of life. Whether you find a spiritual solution, whether you go out there and be of service. There's different avenues, and that's what the channel is all about. And we're trying to give the different perspectives. You know what I mean? Like I've told you, I'm a firm believer in Christ. I've committed myself to Christ, and I try to walk a thin line to where I don't push people away, like I'm trying to force feed that down their throat. But at the same time, I'm still open about it. I try to tell people whatever can possibly work for you. I know what works for me. And a lot of times the best examples of anybody to understand that life is those that walked it. We're not just out there like trying to glorify like this is who we were, this is who we was, because majority of the channels were never about that lifestyle. You know what I mean? We're showing through our personal experiences, and we're showing what not to do and what you can do. Like I said, I've been saying in the previous channels, the channel's about that 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid that just had his first kid, that's on the fence about kicking it with the homies or trying to sell drugs or trying to do this. Our channels for that old veterano, the old viejo who goes in and out, who's been on that gadaga or on that stuff and just keeps on going in and out, loses his family, doesn't have that life that, hey, look, even at any age, you can change your life. Our channels for that struggling mom out there who has that one kid who may be stuck on drugs, or one kid who may be doing a lot of prison time. Yeah. We're trying to give a positive message that, look, man, regardless, this is life. You can't let it beat you up. You can still make changes, because the biggest misconception is we allow our past to dictate our present and our future. Yeah. We make excuses, and we let things start to fester, and we start to self-justify why we do what we do. But we never think about, man, there's alternatives. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's the message we're trying to sit there and promote. And the more examples we can get, and that's the great thing about our channel now, is now we have such a good following. We've been expanding and focusing on those, on that direction, on that perspective, because let's keep it real. A lot of people, they like the war stories. They like to know about, what was going on with the MA and NF and all this stuff, man, which is fine and dandy, but it would defeat the purpose of what we're pushing if we don't circle around and have a message. And that's what it always has to come down to. We have to have a message in everything that we do.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I find it intriguing, your channel. How many subscribers you have right now?
Close to 11,000.
Close to 11,000. Another thing I found intriguing about your channel is, and also Gunner, is sometimes you have done videos on actual people that were my co-defendants, yet I didn't know them. So I'm just like, I'm tripping listening to some of these videos you guys do, and I'm like, this is a dude I was sitting next to, and that trips me out, man. Like I said, when you started your channel, you weren't even showing your face. It was just your voice. And I remember being blown away. I think my wife and I, maybe we're on our way back from Los Angeles, because her family lives down there and we visit quite often. And I remember just listening to your guys' voices, and I told her, it was just, even the way you guys talk, you and Rojo, the way you speak, I said, these guys are for reals, man, because I know how they talk. That doesn't go away, you know what I mean? And even breaking bread with you this weekend, and it's like, it's something that doesn't go away, man. There's people that I understand, like, people know me as Pastor David. They don't know me by my past or whatnot, but there's people like, they sense that, there's something that comes with that. And what I try to do is just use it for God's glory. I'm like, okay, God, if I'm going to act this way or be this way or be looked at, or even, I don't know, there's a difference, man. When somebody's been to war and back, there's a difference. There's something that changes in you. And I'm just like, I want to use this then to be a bridge to reach more people, to say, you know what, I came out of that and now I can do this, so that's what I found very intriguing about your channel, man. And
you don't lose your leadership skills. You don't. Yeah. And that's the thing. We don't lose our education. We don't learn all the things that we studied, man. Like, we studied everything from warfare tactics to concepts of leadership, to Sun Tzu, to Plato the Republic, even the Bible. We used to send messages in code through Bible verses. Yeah. Ephesians would be a big one. Believe it or not. And we used to misapply it, which was, kind of crazy. But like, if I wanted to send a message sometimes to someone, I would use a Bible verse, believe it or not.
Wow.
And there was we used to have that there's no limitation to your educational capacities. So therefore, when you have all this education, we were misapplying it for our own purposes. We were utilizing it, as a control mechanism to control the masses for our purpose, which was always monetary purposes.
Yeah.
was always to build foot soldiers to push our agenda.
Yeah.
So now we're taking those same skills and that same mindset to try to help people. You know what I'm saying? There's still going to be gangs out in the streets. We're not trying to, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. We're trying to give people the freedom of choice to make their own decisions, you know, because as much as we want to change the world, it'd be awesome just to change the world, right?
Yeah.
It'd be a great thing. We understand the reality of it. So we realize that we're still going to have haters. We're still going to have people attack us. We're still going to have all that. But for the most part, people are respecting the message.
Yeah.
People get it. And like I say, I think you probably feel the same way. You can hate the messenger. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like Sir Dino, Pastor Rocha today. You don't have to like Rojo, but you can't dispute the message we're trying to promote.
Yeah.
You can't say that we're trying to water down or misguide people, you know, by giving them an option to live life freely as men and make their own choices. And we're given all kinds of different ways in how to find that solution. And that's what it comes down to. Find your truth, what works for you and what's going to be in your best interest for your family. We're trying to give you building blocks.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to emulate what I did. You don't have to emulate what Dino did or Rojo. You got to find your own truth and what works for you. And the more they hear these testimonies from different people, the more people it may click later on, you know, when they face these trials and tribulations and they're put in these predicaments to where they don't know where to go, you know. And I know God's always been there. God's always been, you know what I mean? I've noticed, like I said, every crucial part of my life, and this is real. And I think anybody who's active, who still thinks they're a hardcore gang member out there, understands this. We've been put in situations to where we're faced with these consequences of our actions. And we sit there and that's when we pray to God, hey, can you help me through this? I'm going to change my ways. And I don't know how many times I did that, man. And I slapped God in the face by going back out there to my same activities. And I can't ever do that again. You know what I'm saying? For everything that God's done for me in my life, I can never do that. I gotta be a vessel for him to do what I can. I'm just a small part of it, man. We're just tiny part of it, man. You know, in doing God's work. And the more of us say,
I'm glad you said that right now, that you're a small part, because all of us, the Bible even talks about all of us being part of the body, and he's the head, right? And there's something interesting that I realized, like a few minutes ago, you said that that you don't push God so far on your channel because it's you have a certain format that you follow. And I think that's a good thing. It's in its place. But I think that's why God has brought me along with you guys, because like our channel is this is a Christian channel. This is my main agenda, my main thing, and I have an agenda, is to bring people to Christ, you know, and not anything else. So we work hand in hand, because here's the thing is that I'm sitting here having House of Rest for 10 years, and we'll get some people coming in off the, you know, out of that lifestyle, and they kind of just come in. But I'm just like, God, I need a bridge. I need a bridge that'll reach back into that. And I don't know how to do it, you know, and you need to give me wisdom. So here you come along and your channel and Gunner. And here's the thing. Here's what's crazy, right? Because God will use anyone he wants to, first of all, because he's God. Gunner, he's funny. He's a smart guy, you know, and nothing Christian about his channel. But here's the thing. God is still using his channel as a bridge, because people are coming in huge groups to this channel now, and they're like, man, I was on Gunner's channel, man, but how did you change? You know what I mean? Which kind of brings me to my next question is first of all, I wanted to know, you were a Northerner just like I was growing up, but then you got into a little deeper. You got into the NR, and then you got into Nuestra Familia. What age did that happen at before your conversion to Christ?
Okay, I ended up at 18 years old, I was already involved in politics, man, all the way up, man. And by the time I was 23, I was fully fledged out there in the streets working with the regiment's activities. And it just progressed from there.
At 23?
When I at 23, I was already out there working with the regiment out there in the streets.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Communicating, being seasoned, being indoctrinated. Now, when I walked away from this life already, it was basically at a young age. I was already 30 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I entered it at such a young age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Was involved in the prison politics that you know, I was one of those ones where I was too smart for my own good. I was really highly intelligent. Sometimes my intelligence was so there that they liked what they seen in me,
Mhm.
that they felt that they could manipulate it, you know what I'm saying, to what they wanted to create me into.
Of
You know what I'm
course.
saying? And then you're instilled with this thing. It's like, of what you think this lifestyle is about, that once you realize what it really is about, you're already too knee deep into it. I wasn't having that. I suffered a lot of corruption and betrayal, man. You know what I mean? Like I've discussed many times,
Yeah.
my ex-wife, you know what I'm saying, who was as solid as a female in that lifestyle as you can have, you know what I mean, was it someone tried to sexually assault her. There was an attempt.
Wow.
And that was a big brush. And my mindset at that time, man, and I know this is a Christian channel, but we have to tell our truth. I mean, was to take this dude out. You know what I'm
And
saying?
this was somebody in that organization?
They were not in, they were assisting, they were working, but they were a moneymaker.
Okay.
You know, and they were a moneymaker. And it became a whole split because the individual that was pretty much running everything at that time, even though there was a lot of different members out there, pulled rank. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually plugged this individual, actually was from my neighborhood, and I actually plugged him in with this individual.
Yeah.
Because at that time I had a certain jurisdiction of my own crew, my own people that were working under me. And when this people were paroling from the county jails and from different prisons, and I was one of the people that they would touch base on to get plugged into a regiment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, because I was one of those ones where my hands were everywhere. Everybody worked with me. So that was my breaking point where, you know what I'm saying, when I seen the corruption and betrayal, I'm like, man, you know, these are the same brothers that I would have died for or I would have killed for. And my wife, you know, I mean, she held her mug. You know, I mean, I caught a case for the NF in 2002. You know what I mean? Which, you know, took me away from my kids. And my wife almost caught a case too. And she held her mug. You know what I mean? She actually signed over custody because they were threatening to take my kids to my mom. Because my mom was a real estate broker. She had her broker that she worked for had his notary license. So when they were threatening to take my kid, because it was a kind of a little high profile case that happened out there.
Yeah.
She signed over and she said, if you're going to take me in, you're going to take me in. And so when this situation happened, which I'm not going to go too much into details, but people know about it.
Well, they can go to your
think,
channel because you talk about it a lot in your channel.
Yeah. I didn't get the backing. I didn't get the backing, you know what I mean, that I expected, man. And that was my part where I'm like, you know what, man, if these brothers can't, if they're going to put money, you know what I'm saying? And I pushed issues on it, man. I pushed back on it. And there was almost consequences for that, man. Like, because I'm intervening in the money that's supposed to be coming in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Later on, I ended up deeming this dude no good, and I had him hit when he was in Tracy in DVI prison because I was off the streets already. But you know, that was the hard part. I felt like I got the bad end of the stick. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
You know, the way my life went from there, you know, it was difficult, man. Like instead, you know, because I felt that I got the bad end of the stick, and all I heard was the consequences of my actions of what I did, but no one understands. Well, look what happened to me. You know what I mean? Like, here I am loyal to this for years. Like, I was out there pre-Black Widow, post-Black Widow, caught a case, held my mug, you know what I mean? And contributed so much money. And because this individual, you know what I'm saying, who I had a lot of love for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was high on dope and tried to sexually assault my ex-wife. You're going to put money before me?
Yeah.
I was done. I felt no loyalty to it. And I felt it was hard because no one understood. All they knew was that now he's what in their eyes a POS.
Yeah.
He's no good. He defected. He dropped out. And so instead of me, I was out there still, you know what I mean, running around like a renegade on the streets.
Yeah.
Out there in the Bay Area, letting people know who I was. You know what I'm saying? Running around with a cuete, running around still hustling, doing all this stuff, running into active dudes, telling them if you got a problem, what's cracking? Like an idiot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And half them, you know what I mean, you know, would still mess with me out there because they knew what was going on. And I was just a loose cannon, man. And you know, I'm gonna get to where I found God since you asked.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was in 2016, right? I had another kid with another female. My relationship, because of what happened, it severed my ties. That relationship ended, man, because of what happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I took that really hard. And so, you know, I got in a relationship with a younger female, and I was still out there, man. You know what I mean? I still had a lot of connects in the game, and I was doing on a lot lower level. You know what I mean? Instead of moving about 10 P's of meth a week, you know what I mean? I was copping maybe about a half P every couple of days, you know, and I was still
that'll keep you floating.
I was just doing that, and I was using though too.
Oh, wow.
And, you know what I mean? And I wasn't the same person, and I was doing certain things that I wasn't no longer a professional. Before I used to send people to go do hits or do licks or kicking doors. Now I was kicking in doors. I was acting like a loose cannon. My son ends up getting taken in by CPS
Wow.
in February of 2016. Okay. And that was hard because I gained close because I have daughters too, but I was not in their life because of the life I was living. And their mom was not an addict. Like I said, she was a solid female. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And she sheltered the kids away from me. And now I have a relationship with them. But, you know, my son, the mother was an addict as well. You know what I'm saying? She was a lot younger. She's let me see, she's 16 years younger than me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So she was young and I was living that life. And so when that happened, I was still out there running the streets and, you know what I mean? Like making excuses why I wasn't getting clean for the first
Yeah.
week or two, you know what I mean? And was going to visit my kid he was in foster care. He was only 2 years old at this time.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, some things happened for me that changed everything. One, okay, I had a friend out there in Livermore named Adam Brook. He was a white boy, you know, Wood, but you know, real close.
Yeah.
And he just got out and we were tight. And I had just dropped him off and I gave him some meth. And he also had some heroin. And so, you know, I asked him, you know, you're not slamming the heroin no more, right? No, but he was slamming meth. And so I helped him do his thing, you know what I mean? Get his thing and I gave it to him.
Yeah.
I guess he put some black in it. And so an hour later, I get a call from his lady, hysterical. She found him dead from a drug overdose.
Wow.
And I was the last one to see him, man. And he was like 28 years old.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And even though I didn't have nothing to do with what he did, it just had a lot of guilt. Two, the task force hit me up, Livermore, and I ended up getting caught with some dope. And so I remember I was in Santa Rita, and I never showed no emotions for years, man. I didn't know how to cry or anything, Rocha. Yeah. CPS came to visit me, even though my case was in the peninsula. The CPS case, they came all the way there to have their investigators talk to me. And when I was in there, man, I broke down and I literally cried because of my kid, what he was going through, and realizing that I put him there. And I hadn't cried for any of my kids, any of the things I did in my life.
And this is the son that your whole life revolves around now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're always talking about your son.
You know, and so what ended up happening was I actually ended up getting bailed out. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you something, right? And this is what viewers don't know. I mean, when I went into Santa Rita, I came in with a bundle. You know what a bundle is?
Yeah.
I came in with some stuff, and I left when I was getting bailed out. I did my last little linea, getting out. Most people go in there, they get clean. I got clean getting out.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I left it. I see my kid, and I'm like, man, I have to go into a program, man. And so I went into a program at the Salvation Army up north,
which is a Christian program.
Which is a Christian based program. My brother went through there too. My brother's a strong Christian. He has about 6.5 years clean.
Amen.
And so it worked for him. And I seen everything, the challenges that he went through. So I went in there, and I went into and there it's a therapeutic program, which, you know, I see little comments, people say, oh, it's slave camp labor. No, they're giving you food, they're giving you job skills, they're housing you, they're giving you therapy, counseling, they're making you go to meetings, and they're doing it every day. They have their daily devotions every day.
Yeah.
They have one-on-one therapy. They have you do Bible study. They have you do workbooks that are faith-based. And so I just started to see, you know, God changing my life. And I was like, I felt like I was even different than a lot of other people that were in there.
Yeah.
Because I kept to myself, number one, but I talked to people. But I seen people not taking the program serious sometimes. Yeah. And I seen those ones who were taking it too serious, like they were like better than people. And those were always the first ones that went out there and relapsed. And so, you know, I was there for a couple months, and I was still struggling, man. You know what I'm saying? I was still struggling because I didn't think anybody understood what I was going through, man. And I ended up actually getting kicked out the program.
Wow.
You know, I had a little attitude in there a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But I knew God had my back. I did not stray away from anything that I learned from the program. I kept everything that I had, stayed sober, and went into another program. And then I just continued to start to pray, you know what I mean? And listen to the things that I had and seeing what God had done for me. And I realized, man, like what my biggest problem was in my life. It wasn't that I didn't have my kid. It wasn't that I was on the, fence about going back to old activities. My biggest problem is the same problem I have every day. How far is my relationship with my higher power, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ? Because when my relationship is close with Jesus Christ, all the problems in the world don't no longer exist.
Yeah.
If I started to distance myself from Jesus, that's when the problems start to arise. That's when I become spiritually disturbed. As long as I have faith on a daily basis, man, and I do a lot of praying every morning, every night. I communicate with God on my own, and I found out how it works for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was my epiphany to where I started saying, like, look, when I started hearing the messages, I started going to celebrations of recovery, which I don't know if you've ever been to those,
I know,
but
but
they're awesome.
I know some. Yeah.
And I started going into Bible studies, and then I combined that with doing AA and NA work.
Yeah.
And, at first I started to feel like, okay, maybe I don't know as much as other people, but it doesn't matter. So I started going and listening to church every week. I continued everything that I learned, man.
Yeah.
And here I am 5.5 years later, still clean, still sober, still have a relationship with God, still there for service anytime that's need be.
Yeah.
And I feel content with my life. I don't have to be, I know I do my part. You know what I mean? I don't overkill it because, you probably experienced those that you see in different churches where you get those people who they're on fire and they're just doing too much.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
They burn
And then
out really quick.
they burn out.
They
I
burn
feel
out.
like
Yeah.
I can do my part, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, whenever necessary. Like, you know what I mean? Like now that the churches have opened up where I live, as you know, I live out of state. I'm trying to find the right church to attend to now, but I've been tapping into yours a lot too. And God has, I got to give all grace to God for everything that he's done. And
Yeah.
I know for me, I can't forget that because it's so easy when life starts to go good, you forget who was there for you the whole time. And you start to venture off into different avenues, man. Like, as you said, the bridging the gap between the channels,
Yeah.
I have to, but based upon the fan base that we have, I want like the subscriber base, the followers.
Yeah.
I have to give them the options. I can't force feed it.
Yeah.
And we tell stories, Christian-based stories all the time. We've had you on there, we've had Sundown, we've had Alfonso, and now we've had Pastor Al. And I'm going to have another Christian rapper that's pretty well known. We're going to do an interview tomorrow. So now we're able to dial into that, and people are listening. Yeah. But we don't want to discourage anybody. I mean, we're not force feeding Christianity on our channel. You know what I mean? I know how biased you are. You've said it before. The only way is through God and Jesus Christ. I get that. But we have to have a platform to where, if I'm going to live in the spiritual solution and help people find that way, I got to go patient with it.
Yeah. I think I like what you say when you say not force feeding, because here's the thing, right? Is that when you present Jesus Christ in the right way he should be presented, he doesn't have to be forced. He becomes a magnet and you're just drawn to him. And that's the thing, is I think a lot of times people get too religious, and when they get too religious, they want to force it on people. And I'm like, man, the Lord is so good. He says a verse that I repeat a lot of times. He says, lift me up and I will draw all men unto me. You know what I mean? He's a magnet, man. He's a magnet, and he doesn't need to be oversold. He doesn't need to be advertised. He doesn't need to be embellished or nothing. When you present Christ the way he truly is in his true form in the Bible, without all the religious stuff, you are drawn to him automatically. He says, come to me all who are heavy laden and I will give you rest. So that's what I try to do. I try to do that as a pastor, as when I do Bible studies or whatever it is I do. And I really hope that our channel is something that also is a part of what keeps you tapped in, because, man, I want to do other videos with you, because there's so many other interesting things to talk to you about. But I do want to talk about this, is that you guys, Gunner, LA Times, the Streets Ain't Loyal, Cholo Trucker, what you guys are doing, man, is with this fight coming up, as some of you guys maybe know or don't know, you guys invited me, collectively, you guys, all of you guys, to have me basically be the chaplain of this fight. And I almost realized, bro, because sometimes me and you have conversations about just family stuff, right? Is that I'm having these conversations with Paul, I'm having these conversations with Joe, I'm having these conversations with even Cholo Trucker, even a couple times I talked to Gunner, is I'm like, wait a second, Lord, are you making me a chaplain of their lives? Which to me, I mean, I'd be honored to, you know what I mean? But I find myself kind of sharing with each of you guys individually. And I'm just like, I'm grateful because God has placed me in a position where you guys trust me, you know, and I want to be that, you know, because a lot of times, man, it's hard to receive from somebody that hasn't come out of the life. Let's just be real. That's just the way it is, you know. And to hear you sharing, somebody that was way deeper than anything I was ever involved with, and for people to hear you sharing Christ, that's a big deal, man. And that takes a lot of bravery for you.
Well, see, that's why I told you the other day when we were talking. You know, before the GUN CD, I said some of your music was some of the most passionate rap that I've ever heard of the struggles of what we were facing. You rapped with a lot of compassion, like a lot of feelings, like you mean like touched on music that you know what I mean the listener could feel. You know what I'm saying? And so you're very charismatic in how you speak. And so now to see you doing this for the Lord, you're doing the same thing that you did. You know what I mean? Pre-GUN, the CDs before, Interview with a
Yeah.
Chicano and all those other ones. Those were some of the most compassionate music songs that all through the radios we were feeling, because that's the same things that we were going through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Living that life. And now you're taking that same passion and you're applying it in your testimonies. That's a big thing to us, man. I commend you on that. And that's something that we support 100%, man.
Yeah.
You know, we're all different vessels in this game.
Yeah.
You know, we all have different ways we apply it, man. And just know that you have that past life, you know, being on the stage, being present and having influence, that you're being a positive influence. That's something that we all want to be part of. And therefore, we're not placing no limitations. The more everybody works together, promoting that message, the more help we can be to help these kids out there, or help these young men, or even these old adults make that change.
Yeah. Thank you. So I guess we can go on and on and on, but I kind of want to come close to it because I want to be able to talk to you later about other subjects. But this fight, let's say somebody's watching this right now that has no idea who Gunner is, has no idea who Cholo Trucker is, and what is this about? How would you summarize in order for get somebody interested in this pay-per-view fight that's coming up on June 26th?
Okay, first and foremost, the fight is based upon a charity cause. You know what I'm saying? We've seen people try to attack that they're going to keep the money in their pocket and this, that. If we were going to keep the money in our pocket, which would be justified doing all the hard work that we put in this, we would let you know, and it would hold merit.
Yeah.
You know, but that's not. I mean, we've already said that if we do a round two, we're going to have to get paid on this because we're putting 40 hours a week just into this fight, man.
Yeah.
But it's for charity, it's for a cause, and it's about uniting people on these channels that have a common interest. You know what I mean? A common agenda. Like, let's come together and show that we can do this from the ground bottom. Even though our channels are getting bigger, none of us really have a big platform. like we have 100,000, 500,000 subscribers. And we're showing that we could put something together for the good. It's not about North or South. People get that misconception, because in no way am I trying to bring the North and South together as united as one gang. I'm trying to help those not have to live that gang lifestyle and find a different solution.
I like
that's
that.
what people have attacked us. Oh, they're trying to unite North and South. We're not active. You know what I mean? We're civilians, all of them, Paul, all of us. And so it's about showing two men, even that they're from different areas, that have changed their life, that they're coming together to do something for the most good. And you would never think, because even though those who are not active, you know what I mean, or not involved in the mix, there still sometimes could be that animosity. Oh, they're from down south, they're from up north. You know what I mean? There's still people with that mindset. And we're showing that as men, as grown men, trying to do the greater good. You know, like Paul and them, they're a strong Christian channel as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that we can come together and do something for the most good and work together. And if we can do this, why can't other people find a way as well?
Yeah.
That's what the fight's all about. The exhibition, we should call it.
Yeah.
Exhibition.
Not expedition, exhibition.
Exhibition. You know what I mean? Exhibition.
I was cracking up when Sonny said
well, if we call it a fight, we'll start getting knocks on the doors. You know what I mean?
It's an exhibition fight.
So it's exhibition fight.
Yeah, it's going to be a great thing. So it's on June 26th on pay-per-view on Vimeo, right? So am I able to put the link so they can order it on the comments on this video?
What I would do is I would put it in the comments, and then I'd pin that comment.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And you guys, please support it, man. We got, like I said, we got a couple of charities in mind. We have one that's called Land of Kings, Land in the Sands, that's down in Sacramento, which they do MMA and they teach young kids from different ages. And they take, I think, 10 students at a time. I think the scholarships are like $3,000 per student. And what they do is they go over a couple of weeks to where they start to learn topics like discipline, you know what I mean? Character building, different things a half hour before. They have to maintain a 3.0 average. And then from there, they start to learn different MMA tactics.
Okay.
You got LA Times, they got one where a parent, single father who did a lot of time, ended up raising his daughter who's going to Brown University. We're going to give some money to her to help her on her endeavors. Cholo Tucker has a charity called, I think it's called Stop the Silence, which he's been openly about how he was sexually abused as a child. And so he's giving back to those who've been sexually abused because he was a part of that. So these are the things that we are going to be supporting in this charity event. And that's what it comes down to. I mean, we're just trying to do our part, and we're trying to show people that, look, man, we can do this from the ground level, starting from the beginning. Because none of us knew what direction we were going when we were doing this, but we're doing it. It's going to happen. June 26th, it's going down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Team Gunner.
So I got blessed. I'm going to be able to pray for both fighters right before the fight, correct? And so I'm really excited about that because of the audience it could reach. Because my whole thing is that I'm a true believer, man, that the things we watch on TV, there's spirits that can go into your home, into your place. So if that works for the enemy, why would it not work for the Holy Spirit? So I truly believe that by me praying, I'm going to not only pray for the fighters, I'm going to pray for every single viewer watching, you know, because we don't know the life they're living, and we don't know the things they're going through, the trauma that they have gone through and things like that. So it's a great opportunity for me just to be able to be an example, an ambassador for the Lord, and to pray, you know. So I'm really excited to be there at the exhibition. You know what I mean? I'm really excited about it. If they both knock each other out, I'll pray for healing for both of them. You know, but it's a great thing. The last thing I want to say is I heard you're going to be at a taco eating contest on that pay-per-view exhibition fight.
Yeah. You see me put down a few tacos the other day. I'm trying not to eat too much because I don't know how many, man, and I don't want to, you know what I mean? It's going to be interesting. I'm a big guy though.
Yeah.
You know, you see how big I am. I'm not no little guy.
Yeah. So I joked with with Paul about later on having because I've been here in the church, we've been talking about having a spread war, because there's a handful of ex-cons here and everybody claims their spread is better. And I mentioned it to Paul, and I don't know if that would ever turn to something later. I don't know, but that'd be funny.
I've seen churches do chili cook-offs. You can have a spread cook-off.
I know, right? Do you still make spread?
You know what? It's every once in a while I'll decide to do it. It does not taste the same though as if when you're in there though, for some reason.
Hey, did you ever make the sweet and sour with the Kool-Aid packs?
The Kool-Aid packs, the syrup, the ranch dressing, French dressing, all that, man. Yeah, let it marinate. A little bit of the chili packets from I made all that. People
joke, and they're like, man, you got to leave that old life behind you. I'm like, man, them spreads, I can't leave them behind. I don't eat them that often.
I made menudo in there before.
Yeah, I've had menudo. I've had the tamales.
Oh, tamales are bomb.
Yeah, tamales. In Terminal Island over there by Long Beach, they made ceviche. That was crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, they just, I mean, obviously they didn't have shrimp, but they used a mackerel and tuna. And somehow they got lemon and stuff. I don't know where it came from, but it just got there, you know. So but yeah, man, but I still indulge, and I can't drink my coffee unless it's a Cadillac. You know, I'm not dropping Snicker bars in there now, but I throw some cocoa in there. That's just something, man, that can't let go of everything, I guess. So I guess that's it, right? I'm hoping this is going to generate more interest, man. And I hope that those of you that watch Convicts Perspective, maybe they got a little different point of view of who you are, you know, and I always want to kind of come differently because, you know, we are a Christian channel, and we can just come at things a little bit differently. One thing I really would like to talk about maybe later is I want to talk about solitary confinement.
Oh yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, and I think that in itself, because I'm a huge advocate against solitary confinement, and trust me, I don't want to get started because I won't stop. But I would, guys, if anybody,
I got a story that will blow your mind next time we do this.
Yeah,
yeah.
I really want to do that, man, because a lot of times, real quick, I'll say this as a trailer for the next video, is everybody has these prison channels and they're great, they're okay, you know, Gunner, he's a storyteller, yourself, I mean, everybody has these, but nobody talks about the downtime. It's always about the pegada, it's all about when this guy got hit or that guy or sending wheelas or whatever, but it's never about the downtime when all you have is yourself in your cell alone. And that's why I think that I want to come and talk about that. Will that be cool later on?
Most definitely.
All right. So let me stop this.